Welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. This is episode 34, and we are talking about using best offer and the negotiation tactics you can use using best offer with your customers. So I'm here with Mikey. Hi, Mikey.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey. So our friend Adam from the Mysterious Caravan eBay store, he asked us this. We are trying to price our items higher than what we actually expect to be offered. But when people come in ultra low, should you counter with something in the middle or closer to your asking price? I know you don't want to undersell your stuff, but do you have certain rules that you use, like say, we counteroffer 90% of our asking price every time, or something like that? Does it depend on how long an item has been in your store, or maybe how bad you want to get rid of it? So those are great questions.
It's a good question, and I have to say, I don't have any system. Do you? Do you have any?
I think you guys are kind of like us, where it really depends on the day and the item, you know? Mm-hmm. And, we have a list of points here. So I think I'll start with the first point, which is, what listings do you add best offer to versus having it on everything or having it on nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And
now you have it on everything, is that right?
Well, okay. So when best offer kind of started, we were hesitant because we're just we just set the prices and that's the price we want. And then we thought, we get this stuff so cheap, most of the time, that we have some wiggle room on what we can, take for an offer. So we're like, let's just put it on everything and let's just see how it goes. And we started selling a lot of stuff. We were getting a lot of offers. But, lately, I've kind of been backing off on best offer because I feel like I'm at the point now that I feel like I know what is worth what. Okay, I'm going to sell a jean jacket for $30. That's it. That's what it's worth. If it's a fancier jacket or whatever, it's more vintage, more pristine, it'll go up for higher with maybe best offer. But, I feel like with certain shoes or certain price limits, anything under $30, I'm not going to put make an offer on anymore because it's low enough as it is. What do you guys have as
similar
rules?
Ones.
Yeah.
We do a similar thing. It's under $30. I don't like to use best offer. I don't want to negotiate the cheap stuff like that. And like you, I kind of know the value of things so that I'll tend to use best offer if I'm going for top dollar, but I know my item isn't in top condition. So if I have a $60 pair of shoes, but I know they're not really that great, I might be a little high, that's a perfect item for me to use best offer on. The one thing I want to add, though, about best offer is I often wonder how much the eBay buyers understand best offer. Because I've had weird situations where someone's offered me more than my asking price. So I'll have a $60 pair of shoes and they'll come in at $70. And of course, eBay lets you accept that.
Right. Well, I think what they think they're doing is they're bidding on it.
Right.
They think they're putting a higher bid. So that's a mistake. Yeah. Or they put 70.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, right. You're like, sure, I'll take more for this. I think also sometimes, now I'll skip down to number 5 on our list. Sometimes people will put a higher price or they'll put the same price you're asking and say free shipping in the terms because you can state terms like, I'll do this only if you do, free shipping. And the problem with that is sometimes you don't see that when you get the offer. There's several times where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great offer. And they're like, free shipping to Canada. And I'm like, oh, I did not see that and I accepted it,
I have been burned on that one. And you know what? I think that really bothers me with the eBay app is it doesn't make it that easy to see where they are. So they might throw in a term like free shipping. And you might be, well, that's okay if it's US. And then you're like, oh, Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
I know. It's really weird. That's the strange thing about the mobile app. Sometimes things aren't as visible or, actually, do they even show you through email now? Because I feel like they've taken away people's locations.
they've made it harder to find. Like I have to actually do several clicks usually like on my laptop with a full-on browser to really see where someone's coming from. And that's frustrating that that's not more built in, because I want to respond immediately with a different price or say I can't agree to those terms or something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's talk about auto declining. That's something that you are a fan of.
Yeah, I use auto decline pretty heavily. So almost on any item I do best offer, I'll put auto decline at least at 50% of the item's asking price.
Okay.
And if not, usually higher. If I really know the value of the item, I'll put auto decline maybe at 80 or 90%. So if I have a $100 item, I'll just put auto decline anything below $80, so I don't even see those offers. The only time I wouldn't want to do that is if it were an item that were more wishy-washy, like I'm not so confident in its value.
Now, that's a good point. I was going to say a reason to use best offer from the start is if you're not super confident in the value. And that is something that I do sometimes. If you have like a really rare thing that you're like, I don't know if this thing is worth a lot. I can't find any history on something like this. And I would take less, but I want around, X amount of money. Or you want someone to write to you like, hey, this isn't as rare as you think it is. It's only worth, $30. I'll give you $30 for it. And you're like, okay. Or something like that.
Do you find that you take a lot of offers on slow days?
Yes.
Like, so that's where you're like more amenable to take an offer?
Yeah, it really depends on the item. If it's a slow day and you're like, man, we have not made any sales, or the sales are just really low, you're just like, if somebody gives me a halfway decent offer, I just need to sell stuff, it depends on the item. If it's like something super precious, you'll obviously counteroffer. I wish there was a way for me to be like, it's really slow, I'll be taking crazy offers today. How do you announce
right? Well, you
that?
could put up a 1-day sale, right, and just say 25% off everything, or
yeah. I find sales don't work well for me at all. Anytime I've ever put anything on sale, like, oh, let's put all jackets on sale because it's the summertime, it does not make a difference. That's just a side note, but I've never had success with sales.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I would say that sales are not nearly as effective as best offer, for sure. And that when I've done sales, I actually did get a small uptick, but we're talking like 10%. So if I had 10 ties, one of them would magically sell because I put them on sale.
Yeah. And
the other 9 just sat there, and it didn't matter that they were some huge discount or anything. So.
Right. Exactly. So one point that I did want to bring up, in something I did today, is how to counter offer people with prices that are good for you and give people a discount, if you can do that on the item, and how to get someone to kind of come up a bit in their price. If someone's giving you a really low offer, like I have a pair of like really gorgeous vintage men's boots, and I have them up for $120. But I'm like, I might take a little less. I might take 80 for them if it's a slow day. Like today's a slow day. But they offered me like $30 for them. And so my thing was, okay, I'm gonna counteroffer, and I'm gonna say $90. But I'm willing to take $75 to $80. And I just said, you got to come up a little bit. These are really gorgeous boots. I'm willing to give you a discount, but, not less than half,
So you'll counter with like $90 and a message that says, they're super nice. Just meet me somewhere better.
Exactly.
And that works? You find you get good results?
Yep. Someone will come up, they'll come up a little bit, or they'll come up way. See, the funny thing about offer is, and I actually put in an offer for a pair of shoes for myself today on a pair of like clogs that I wanted, which I never do. But it's just funny because I didn't know at what point was like too low. Like making offers weird because you're like, as a customer, they say best offer and you're like, is that 50% or is that 80%? Like it just depends on the person, So sometimes people come in really low, less than half or exactly half, and you have to communicate with them like, okay, there are some things that I will take half because I'm like, let's just do this. Let's go. Let's get rid of this thing. But there are other times, like with these boots today, where I'm just like, these are gorgeous boots. They're rare, and I want more for them, and I know they're worth it. So I'm standing firm, you know?
Yeah, so I have a suggestion for you that I just thought of now that we're talking about this, and that is if you use auto decline on like a 50%, offer or less, you can put a default message with auto decline that says not just like what value you need. You can just put a message. So you could say, these are really nice. That could be your message.
Right.
I need a little more for them.
That's
so that
cool.
wouldn't be such a bad thing.
I actually didn't realize that.
I think one of the big advantages of auto decline is that when people get an immediate feedback of declined, because it's instant. As soon as they submit the offer, auto decline will come right back and say, hey, you're below their minimum.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even say that. It just says not accepted.
Yeah.
Often, if people are interested in the item, they'll keep on bidding just to understand. And they're trying to find where's the point. The cutoff. So they'll do $5 increments until they get through to you.
Yep.
So it might be a good idea just to have a stock message you put with every item. This is really nice.
This is really nice. Yep. That's cool. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, when I did that today on the shoes, I did a pretty low offer. I think actually I was one of those people that I hate who did half. Mm-hmm. Just to see, okay, so I did half. It did auto decline, and then I bumped it up $3 more, and she didn't accept it yet, but it did go through. Right. Like they're pending this offer, and I was like, ooh, so $3 more was the cutoff. At least the cutoff. So that was interesting.
So you can see a lot of people like that 50% setup, and I think we should probably just mention auto accept. Have you ever used that?
Yes, I have used that, but it's mostly when I don't have make an offer on an item and someone says, hey, will you take, this much instead? And I'm like, yeah, actually I would, I'm reconsidering it. So I'll change it in the listing and say, accept anything over, the price they gave me, a little under the price they gave me, and then they'll... And then it automatically accepts it. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's when I use it. That's
smart, because it closes the deal right away, and it also prevents them from trying to offer less than what you've agreed to. So
yes, and you know what? I've gotten that a lot. When someone's like, hey, you don't have to make an offer on this thing. Will you take $50? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take 50. And then they offer 30. And you're like, we agreed on 50. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah. Or they love to throw in terms at the last minute.
Yeah. Free shipping to Brazil. Yeah.
I don't know how it works with auto accept terms, because if someone threw that in, I'd be really frustrated if I had auto accept and they hit my price point and then they threw in like free shipping and gobstoppers for my grandchildren.
And they will. I don't know if you can put. I guess you would put terms. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I'm not on the customer side, so I really haven't seen how that works on that end.
I don't know either. So I kind of agree with this one. So it's. Don't let a really good offer go.
Yeah.
So when a good offer comes in, you just accept it right away instead of waiting.
Yeah. So so basically on this item, I said, ask yourself, is this the best offer I've gotten, and will someone offer this much again, or do I care? So in this instance, I'm kind of just saying it's good to stop and not automatically just be like, no, that's too little. You kind of want to look at it for a second and just be like, that's a pretty good offer. Like I've had Jay just laugh at me when we have something up for like $300 and someone offers like $220. And I'm like, well, I don't know. He's like, are you kidding me? He'll just laugh. He's just like, we've had this up forever. It's huge, whatever it is. Like, let's just sell this thing. And it's like I need him to just be like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a similar problem with that, because I have to check with my partner, Wendy, whenever offers come in, because it's often her item or my item. But, if it's her item, I have to check with her. It slows us down on even accepting an offer. And sometimes I'll accept it, but if I wait too long, it can end up being like the customer never pays and we just don't complete the transaction fast enough. So I always kind of suffer around, just not responding fast enough to a good offer.
Let's see. We have another item here that says successful counteroffers or accepting an offer usually only work right then. Use your phone alert and then if you do have a business partner, talk to that person, text them, whatever you need to do. Like, what do you think of that offer? I mean, that's what Jay and I do all day long. I mean, we're on chat, we're on text, we're just like, let's just take it. Or no, I'm going to counter because those are nicer, like we will have that discussion, but we try to have it quickly because like I gave an offer to someone for those clogs today and I still haven't heard back. And I actually went ahead and bought another pair. Because I was like, I'm not going to sit here all day. Like, I need these shoes. We're going on a trip soon, and I need these shoes. So they're cheap enough if I bought 2 pairs that I could sell a pair, if she does accept it. But but still, the fact that I'm like, I'm not going to wait around for 48 hours for her to accept my offer.
Right.
Like, I want to know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I feel like if you put yourself in the position of the buyer, like in your case with the clogs, the person is still on eBay browsing and looking and waiting for your response. So they're going to get into other stuff. And you got to respond and do the counter and work it out.
Yeah, agree. So get your phone alerts going and make sure you respond to those people. I
like your comment here. Europeans seem to be the best at giving good offers.
Yeah. I noticed that, like, people in Germany, you're like, I want $36 for this thing, and they'll offer $30, and you're like, cool, I'll take that, like, whereas someone in the US would be like $9.
Yeah, I think that's very cultural, and I found this in other countries like the Middle East where it's more aggressive haggling. They want to have the negotiation. Like, that's just part of what they're used to in their cultures. They have this pretty intense negotiation process that goes into everything to sort of to show interest levels and what the product's value is. All happens through negotiation. In the U.S., we don't really do that. We don't haggle on most things. Cars and homes, you do a little bit, but even that's awkward.
Yeah, Americans think it's rude. They think it's rude or awkward, and people in other countries, like you said, a lot of times, if you don't haggle or make an offer, they think you're a sucker. They're like, you just paid full price. That's dumb.
And it's sort of offensive that you wouldn't, participate in this activity of haggling.
Right, exactly.
So.
Yep. Yeah, so definitely it's different. It's different here.
So I'm going to jump to the last one real quick because we have a funny story where I was in this intense haggling over a knife, like a Hinkle knife going to Brazil a few months ago. And we're having all these problems because the knife cost and the shipping costs were pretty much the same. It was like a $35 knife and $30 in shipping. Yeah. And so we're trying to work it out. And eventually he just wrote to me with, "Let's be friends." And it kind of like just closed off the whole negotiation thing because I'm like, okay, fine. I'm tired of doing all this haggling anyway. And I feel like that's like the bomb to drop at the end of a long back and forth where you're getting down to just like $3 differences. Yeah. It's just like, let's be friends.
Yep. I think that's hilarious. The other thing too to add to that, like you just said, is something that Jay mentioned is, if you're haggling between $1, $2, $3, $5, either for them or for you, you just have to figure out what's worth it. Someone will be literally, I'll say, I want $40 for this, and they're like, no, 25, and then we keep going up by $5 increments. Like, if they're doing that to me and I'm just like 40, I'll just decline them. Like, after a while, I'm just like, forget it. Like, if you're just going up by $5 and it's not worth it enough for you to pay $5 to $10 more for this item, then I don't want to deal with you, So it's
exactly.
Yeah. You're like, are you really haggling over that little amount,
You're sort of predetermining the troublemakers too, because when they're doing these games, the $5 game, and I'll meet you eventually at your price, like, this is someone who's going to be, I think, a sign of a troublemaker later on.
Yep. So. Yep. Absolutely. You want to block that person immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like when people when people are writing these long messages. I don't know if you've ever gotten that, where they write these long messages where they're like, can you please take more photos of this and measure the shirt this way? And this is for my grandfather who, they just go on. And you're like, no. Right now, block
Trouble.
them right now. Because they're going to return this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yep.
And I make a point of not responding at all. There's nothing that will come out of that conversation.
Yeah. Or I will respond I'll block them and I'll respond like, all the information's on the listing. Thanks. That's it.
Well, I think we've done a good job of covering what we had here. I did have one more item, and I want to check and see what else you have. I just want to say that I've had this problem before where I had some pretty expensive items. Someone sent me an offer, and I wasn't being careful, and I accidentally accepted it. So
Really?
I think one of the problems with Best Offer is the button isn't that far away from accept or decline. Like, it's just
Yes.
a little button on your phone. So it's easy to kind of like not be careful and automatically accept, not automatically, but, accidentally hit the accept button when you meant to decline an offer. So you might just want to take your time when you press that button, because I think I accepted an offer on something that was just terrible. It was like, $120 offer on a $200 item that was recently listed.
Yeah,
it was
that's
not
tough.
good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do give you a chance. Like, you say accept offer, and then they give you a second time to say yes or no. But yeah, you really have to be paying attention. Where you're like, did I press the right button? Yeah, absolutely. That's really important.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention was, 1 in 20 people won't pay for the offers they make. That's the only thing about making an offer that's kind of in line with auctions. You don't have to say pay immediately. It's like you have to send them an invoice, and they can take forever to pay. And sometimes that's just part of make me an offer, Best Offer. That's just part of it. Like, some people just won't pay, and it's a bummer, but a lot of people do pay. Most people do pay.
So what do you do when you accept a Best Offer and you got to send this person an invoice, or they have to know on their own to go and pay it? Do you send invoices right away? Do you go to because you can't do it through the eBay app on the iPhone. So I'm wondering how you handle that.
I send an invoice, so it's really a pain because on the app you can't send an invoice. So I go into my email. I see that it says it's sold on my phone. This is if I'm on my phone. Mm-hmm. And then I click send invoice, and it opens my browser on my phone. And then I send it through there. And then I also do contact buyer and send them a note saying, hey, I accepted your offer. If you pay tonight, I'll ship in the morning.
Now, do you just manually type that in each time, or do you have like a cut and paste thing?
Yeah, I have on my notepad on the iPhone, I just copy and paste that text every time. And on my computer, I have it like in stickies. So I send them an invoice right away, and then I send them a note right away. And I'm really persistent. I'm really annoying. If they haven't paid in 24 hours, I send them the note again. And if they haven't paid, 2 days later, I send them a note. I send them a note every day until I can do an unpaid item case. Mm-hmm. And it's.
Do you remember how many days that is until
I do believe
starts up?
For an auction, it's 2 days. For a Best Offer, I think it's 3 days, which kind of sucks because it's kind of a long time. But I will do an unpaid item, and then sometimes, honestly, people will pay after that. They'll be like, "Oh, I didn't check my email for 3 days," which is insane. But But there are people like that out there with like AOL accounts. So
yeah. I love the eBay automatic unpaid. I have that turned on.
So
it
really?
Just mails them after. Mm-hmm. And that's great service that eBay offers, because now they're getting an official note from eBay. It says, you have not paid from this item, and a case will be opened. And it's a pretty stern email. So it just sends those at like 3 or 4 days in. Those automatically come up, and it will automatically like recredit me if the person doesn't pay, I think within a week of that first notification from eBay.
So the only reason I haven't turned that on, just real quick, is because there are some people who do contact me and they're like, hey, I really want this item, but I don't get paid for the next 2 weeks. Can I buy it and then pay you in 2 weeks? And I've actually had a lot of success with that. People will be like, okay, I'll pay for it. Like, I do actually want it. Like, so if I had the automatic thing on, it would automatically say unpaid, for those people. So...
Right. So on those cases, because I get those too, where someone wants to pay at their next paycheck, what I do is you can look at the item that's sold in your sold listings, and you can say turn off automatic auto pay collector. So it's just a click on through the eBay web interface.
Oh, that's so cool. See, you totally taught me that because I did not know that. That's good to know. I'm going to do that then.
It's the same as if you wanted to see view transaction details or print shipping label. Like it's the same kind of drop down on each item. It's like a 5 to 10 item drop down where you can just say turn off the auto collector.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm totally going to check that out because, yeah, it's a pain when you're like, oh, who hasn't paid? Can I do the unpaid item thing now? Like I check every day. I'm like, is it past time yet?
Yeah. It's nice because eBay sends like a very stern email to them, and most people like cough it up at that point. And I have very few that slip through that, the auto collector. And it takes a little bit off of me. I don't have to go manage it so much.
Good. That's really good to know. I'm going to do that. All right.
So that's our episode 34, Best Offer Negotiations. So thank you, Ryan. That was a fun podcast.
Thanks, Mikey. Bye.